Hello, I hope you're doing well. My name is Matthew, and I'm a concerned citizen. And I have to say, this whole crap with Donald Trump, watching the administration every day, I'm addicted to news a little too much unhealthy wise. I'm going on YouTube, watching independent individuals, independent media. I watch the Knitting Cult Lady. I watch Heather Cock Richardson. I watch Secular Talk with Kyle. I watch Francesca. Amongst others, right? I try to get a mixture because not all the time am I going to agree with them 100%, but I need validation that I'm not crazy because this administration is just batshit crazy. And to see so many people support this man after everything he's done, I just don't understand it. And I have to say, this is even having someone in my own family or other individuals in my family who support Donald Trump. And I see it. I am trying to understand how this can happen. In some aspects, I think I know, but that's a video for another time. My health, my blood pressure has not been good with this, and I have an autoimmune condition, and I have to be very careful about letting myself get upset. And all of my techniques are not working. So I'm not sure about you, but I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're taking some time to find other activities to help distract you or bring down that blood pressure and gain some ground. Because life's short and we have to enjoy what we have. You know, my partner's had a stroke. I'm his caretaker, thankfully living with his family right now where we are set up. And going through the journey of his rehabilitation. And those are my personal problems, but I know that you have your own as well, on top of everything that's happening in this world. And there's some people who are really good at separating that. Now, I think there's unhealthy balances for each, right? You're either stuck too much on the news or you're not at all paying attention to what's going on. So here we are. And I want to talk to you all about this whole Nick Cannon and saying the Democrats are the party of the KKK, right? Now, I think I don't want to focus a lot on Nick Cannon himself. I think that that is something separate. I think this idea that the Democratic Party is the KKK is partly fueled by the fact that they just love to agitate the left, because obviously this is not true. But I also believe that individuals have it set in their mind that because Lincoln, who was a Republican, at one point freed the slaves, this is forever showing as a label on them that they are a party which is for all, that they are fighting for minorities. Now, I know a lot of people are probably rolling their eyes as I say that, but I believe that they think that's true because the undeniable fact is that the Republican Party's ideology today does not match that of the past. And when you try to find examples of tell me how you are helping minority groups, how are you helping trans individuals, Black Americans in this country, Hispanics, Native Americans, Indians, amongst other communities, tell me. And you won't find much. Right? So I want to take a look at a few examples where I feel are pretty clear that the Republican Party is doing suppression rather than building people up, like they want to say. They want to say Democrats are the party of the KKK, but obviously not true. So first thing is Republicans love to fight against programs which help the marginalized. So affirmative action, right? They fought to get rid of that and were successful. Now, I've seen studies that show that Black enrollment in universities such as Harvard has dropped tremendously. And a lot of people go, well, that's because they're not qualified. The narrative you fall into. Now, when you look at this narrative of like, hey, only people who deserve it should get it. We have been built on a system of watching many people who do not deserve it, who just happen to be men, white men, continuously get these positions, and when you see their credentials or you see where their life experience have brought them, it does not align with where we believe they would qualify. So many of these individuals, it's because of connections. And I think many of us know that that's a part of what this world is made of. People who are rich, people who are powerful, are always going to help each other. So we look at this system and I'm like, you're saying that Republicans are not the party of the KKK. Okay. Now, you look at Donald Trump running in his first term, and he was endorsed by the KKK. Now, his party, his campaign denounced that, right? But Donald Trump did not protest too much. In fact, I think that he did it at the advisement of his experts, but otherwise, I don't think Donald Trump would do that. Now, in my community here in upstate New York, during his first term, the KKK was passing out flyers trying to recruit individuals. And that shows how emboldened, or the permission structure that they felt was happening in America, to be so open. Then his second term running, again, same community, the KKK again, making themselves known, and then even attacking Democratic individuals. So voters, putting signs in their lawn, even harassing a woman and saying that she is a pedophile. It was really horrific. So here we are, again, in the situation of hate, and people are watching Donald Trump, target the Haitian community, spread lies saying they're eating cats and dogs. They love to attack woke and DEI. And when they talk about wokeness, right, they will point to movies like Little Mermaid, a black actress playing Ariel. They'll say, for example, a movie having trans individuals, having Hispanic individuals. The pure fact that there's someone who is a minority on TV or in a movie is what they consider woke. I think that in some ways Hollywood does a disservice to minorities, because it just so happens that some of these movies, I actually enjoyed Little Mermaid, but some movies are not made with the best quality and actually do more harm when they're not telling stories that are encapsulating, that can be actually told in a way that's emotional, where it just feels like it's being done just to make a movie and get it done with. Like Netflix with just turning out movies. So I think in some ways Hollywood hurts and adds to that narrative, but also people are paying attention and just looking for an excuse to attack individuals, the marginalized. Now, when they talk about DEI, they always like to use it based on merit. Like, these people don't deserve it. Now, notice whenever they talk about this, they will show a picture of a woman forest ranger. They will show pictures of black pilots, and they will just say, look at these people who are unqualified. But what they will never do is they'll never talk about their credentials. They will only talk about the fact that that's a woman forest ranger and that these are black pilots. And it's very evident that they do not care about the credentials. Because if they did, right, they wouldn't be hypocrites hiring family members or people who are just loyal. Look at Project 2025, which was built to get rid of lots of civil service workers and replace them with Trump loyalists. And look at ICE. A lot of these people have previous criminal records, have not passed the physical exams, and have very little training, and yet they still are part of ICE. Talk about special treatment. And I hate when individuals on the left, and I see it on YouTube and other places, will use woke, will use DEI, and the same negative connotation that the right has identified with it. That adds fuel to the fire. Now, programs like DEI, are they perfect? No. But when we get something we can use it like a Trojan horse to actually make a difference. Instead of just tearing it down because there's problems, it's not perfect, why don't we build it up? We have a tendency to, on the left, destroy anything that doesn't 100% meet our goals or demands, right? So we are accused of purity politics, which I do think in part is accurate, but in other ways, we're also working with a Democratic Party, not all Democrats, but the Democratic Party, who is controlled by rich individuals and Israel and other countries. A lot of these politicians are bought off, and we're desperate for people who actually want to work for the American people. So I understand being accused of purity politics on our side, but look what we're working with. But I also find it ridiculous when people on the right want to attack the Democrats when your house is purely messed up. And before you throw stones in that glass house of yours, you better fix the stuff on your side because your house is dysfunctional. So I don't want to hear it from individuals, and I'm sorry to be so harsh. I really don't care what somebody on the right has to say about what's wrong with the Democratic Party, because obviously, hypocrites, if you're taking the time to criticize anytime I bring up something about the Republicans, you're like, no, it's the Democrats. No. I will not accept that. So you will have individuals like Nick Cannon be used as a way for Republicans to have a permission structure to say hateful things against minorities. It happens with gay individuals. There'll be gay Republicans, trans people, immigrants, and you'll see that they use them just to justify their hate. But really, I think there's a mutual agreement between these individuals that support the Republican Party because there's one shared common theme. They care about themselves and their own personal gain. So as they throw their communities under the bus, they're gaining financially. And that's all that matters to them, is the here and now and the me. And that's what's led us here in this country, is because we've thought about ourselves only. We've ignored the suffering of Black Americans. You know, they've been killed in their own homes. So watching Renee Good, Keith Porter is nothing new to the community because they are citizens and they have been killed unjustly. So they did Black Lives Matter, and people responded by saying all lives matter. And it was very prevalent on the right? I personally interact with individuals on the right who just didn't get it and were saying all lives matter, Matthew. I'm like, yes, that is true. But if you are an individual who's being killed, having your family members be killed, constantly harassed and targeted, unjustly so, you need to tell people, I matter. And everyone looks at you like, what do you mean? Well, you're targeting me, and it seems like you don't know that I matter. My life matters. So I'm feeling like I have to deliver this message to you. And what they show when they say all lives matter is just how much they don't get it. They don't get it at all. And that's what's terrible here, is that we are here because a lot of people have ignored and not dealt with the atrocities of the past and never have been held to account. And this is both on the right and left, right? Because, like I said, and I think a past video, or even this video, I don't know, is that the Democrats or politicians will really connect or try to make a connection with their electorate only when they need their votes. And then when this community, trans individuals, Black individuals, others, right, are attacked, they'll go, I don't know her. Instead of letting Republicans control the narrative here, right, when they attack trans individuals, minorities, we could just be a simple message. Hey, we're the party of live and let live. If they're not hurting anybody, what business is it of yours? And this is what freedom means in this country, is that we each have a right to the pursuit of happiness and mind your own business, right? If they're not hurting anybody, what business of yours? Because I'm pretty sure there's lots of things in your house that they may not agree with, but you have the right to do that. You have the right to practice what religion you practice. I may not agree with it. I may not share your ideology, but you have the right to do it. So it's this area of where they say they want freedom, and the hypocrisy is that they don't. They want to baby-proof the United States so Republicans are not offended by anything. I don't want to see trans individuals, right? They'll say they don't want to see trans individuals on TV, gay people on TV, minorities on TV. So they'll say it's woke because they're so sensitive. The party that proclaims to be macho, the party that says that people on the left are snowflakes, when they are the biggest snowflakes. Just because they react with anger, they see that as being strong. But that is not strength, right? I find it more strong for somebody to be completely confident with themselves, know who they are willing to go out in the world and be who they are, right? Somebody wearing a dress, hey, if that's what they want to do, they're going out into a world that doesn't accept them, and they're being themselves. A lot of people see it as them wanting to taunt someone, to make them mad. I think that has more to do with you if you're angry than the other person. So this narrative that Democrats are the party of the KKK completely tries to, and fails, in my opinion, ignore the fact of how much terrible actions have been committed by the Republican Party, MAGA, and this administration. There are my thoughts. I know it's only about 20 minutes, so I'm pretty sure you have plenty of other examples. Share them in the chat of other ways that Republicans have done atrocities in this country. But let me know what you think. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. Sorry for my long rant. I'm going to try to be more scripted in the future, or maybe not. Maybe you want me to speak off the cuff. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take time to find a hobby, do something, take a walk, take care of yourself. Bye.